Standing guard on a bridge over the main trade road of Hammerhall, Emily looked down in wonder at the host of Stormcast Eternals marching in lockstep beneath her. Recently returned from a victory over an army of rampaging Iron Jaws, they held up Uruk heads and other trophies while crowds of grateful citizens yelled praises to the God King Sigmar and his demigod soldiers. Glancing to her left, Emily saw her commander also looking down, trying and failing to hide his own joy at the scene below. A grizzled man who barely cracked a smile, Emily couldn't help but see a twinkle in his eye. Even though she knew he had worked with the Stormcast personally on several occasions, she was glad that such interactions didn't lessen his joy at the sight of them. With her commander in such a good mood, Emily thought it might be a good chance to ask a question that has been burning inside her for quite a while. "Sir," Emily asked. Turning from the marching Stormcast, the commander looked at his subordinate, a raised eyebrow indicating Emily could continue. "I just had a quick question, sir. Why would shards of Sigmar need different colored armor?" "Shards?" the commander asked, his eyebrow raising further and his head tilted in a questioning manner. "Well," Emily continued, "my priest says the Stormcasts are bits of Sigmar's armor that he splintered off with his hammer and breathed life into. They should all be the same. Why do some groups of Stormcasts have different colored armor like normal mortal regiments?" For a solid few seconds, the commander stood frozen, his expression unchanging, until he burst out laughing. The action seemed to shake his entire body. "Soldier," the commander started, his voice containing an unusual amount of mirth, "I'm sure your priest had the best intentions, but I can assure you the Stormcasts are no shards of Sigmar's armor. They were once as mortal as you or I, and because of that, they are as different from each other as you are from me. Both of us work for the protection of this city, but we are skilled differently. Our talents and how we were raised make us ideal for different purposes. The same is true for the Stormcasts. Unlike our mortal regiments, however, Stormcast colors don't just show what group they belong to, but could also symbolize a shared history, a shared personality, any number of things that only Sigmar could really tell. These grouping of warriors are known as Stormhosts." Emily nodded her head, but the look on her face indicated she was just as confused. The commander shook his head and continued speaking. "All right, I'll give you some examples. Now, there are many Stormhosts, and only Sigmar knows the true number. But I know of quite a few, and they're as different from each other as night and day. The Hammers of Sigmar. We are the first to be forged and the heralds of the God King. We cannot fall. First to be forged by the God King. The Hammers of Sigmar are the largest and most veteran of the Stormhosts, a distinction they hold with great pride, but also with an understanding of the great responsibility that entails. They are employed by Sigmar for the most critical of missions, and make it a point to do whatever it takes to get the job done, utterly believing that the only way they would fail is if the mission was impossible, not that that would stop them from trying. The Hallowed Knights. We will lead a crusade across the entire tainted realm until only the faithful are left. Made up of mortals who worship Sigmar in life, they were reforged into the most devout of his champions. With their faith comes a zeal that somehow adds an extra layer of protection from most harmful magic. Singing praises to Sigmar as they crush sorcerers' skulls. Utterly loyal and unquestioning, they charge into holy crusades to cleanse the filth of the realms, so that all can clearly see the glory of their god. The Celestial Vindicators. We will swear a vow of vengeance upon all those tainted by chaos. They will know of our hatred. Many men and women have suffered brutal atrocities at the hands of chaos. Their communities and loved ones destroyed at the whim of the dark gods. When they are reforged, this hatred stays within them and fuels them, giving them a strength few can match. And sometimes, if Sigmar and circumstances allow, they enact their own personal revenge, allowing for a Stormcast to lead its fellow warriors against an enemy who had affected them personally. Woe be to any foe with a Vindicator at his heels. The Anvils of the Heldenhammer. We are the ghosts of the past, the heroes of another age. We saw one world die to chaos. We will not see another. The warriors that make up the Anvils of the Heldenhammer are a strange bunch. Souls forged from another age, they preserve ancient practices and rites from a world long dead. They were forged when the broken world, where all Stormcast armor is forged, was coated in fell magics. Although utterly loyal, it gives them a sinister aspect that makes a few uncomfortable. Not only that, but such ancient souls have an obsession with death, constantly in dread over their final demise, trusting in Sigmar to hold death's cold grip at bay. The Knights Excelsior. We are the chain unbroken, and with us victory is absolute. Do you remember how proud you were when you first joined the army and were able to create a proper shield wall? All of your fellow soldiers working in concert as one fighting force. Compared to the Knights Excelsior, you might as well have been babies trying to fit square blocks into round holes. They are the most disciplined of the Stormcasts. Their military movements so well practiced they might as well be machines. This discipline, as well as a reliance on proven tactical doctrine, makes them a consistent and unyielding foe, marching in lockstep and refusing to stop until every foe before them is destroyed. The Celestial Warbringers. When the horns of war are called, our joyous host shall laugh as we slaughter the enemy. The warriors of the Celestial Warbringers hold a special bond, for they all hail from the same mortal tribe, their shared history making them more of a family than a fellowship. And being of this tribe gives them a further gift, as it is said each warrior is capable of foretelling their own unique doom. For although Stormcast can be resurrected, there are vile spells and relics that can trap or even destroy a Stormcast soul before that can happen. Most visions are vague and uncertain, but a rare few know the foe which will be their downfall. Despite this, they all charge the enemy with glee, as if knowing that death awaits them makes them do all they can to enjoy the time they have left. The Tempest Lords. Take your tally as you take their heads. I expect you to deal a dozen deaths before you meet Sigmar again. The Tempest Lords are all mortals who were the nobility of various empires. But don't mix them in with the fat fools at high society who spend more time wondering which fork to use in actual ruling. These are warriors one and all. In times of peace, they held banquets and gave grand speeches. But in times of war, they were in the dirt with their soldiers. Their privilege tied to a responsibility they took very seriously. Reforged as Stormcasts, Tempest Lords bring this philosophy to the battlefield. Their noble blood meaning they must work even harder to accomplish their mission. And failing that, take down as many enemies as they can before their final demise. The Astral Templars. A tide of monstrous beasts approach and we are few in number. Good. I was hoping for a challenge. In the realms of Gur, you'll find tribes of savage mortals. Surrounded by feral beasts and marauding uroks, they've grown skilled at fighting large bestial foes. Reforged into Stormcast, they take this skill to help fight monsters beyond mortal comprehension. They also seem to thrive on impossible odds. The more dangerous and one-sided the battle, the more excited they become. This fighting spirit helping them overcome obstacles even the hammers of Sigmar might find impossible. Emily stood frozen, her eyes wide at this information so freely given to her. A new question soon burst from her lips, unable to be contained. "Sir," Emily began to ask, a note of awe in her voice. I have to know. What did you do for the Stormcast to gift you such knowledge?" A small smile grew on the commander as he answered, his tone full of amusement. "Simple. I asked. Now turn your head and stand at attention. The crowd may be focused on the Stormcast, but we still need to look like professionals." With that, Emily turned back to the lines of marching Stormcast Eternals. Where once she thought of them as holy but unfeeling pieces of a divine being, she now knew them as former mortal men and women giving a great gift in honor of who they were in life. And because of that, it made them even more glorious in her eyes. Hey guys, this is Arvandus, and I want to say I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like these short stories / descriptions of various races in Age of Sigmar, please like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll keep doing it. Not only Age of Sigmar, perhaps other games that I have interest in. Anyway, thanks for listening, and see you next time.